It's a cute life. It's a nice life. It's a life of ease. So people may think, that this is, I can do very important things with this life of ease, and help and what do you call it, and save Jewish lives and stuff like that. It tells you, no. When you're raising your kid, you're not raising him to be the doctor because you have to save lives, or the lawyer, or the policeman, or whatever it is that you have to save lives. I'm raising the Talmud Chacham. There's going to be a Talmud Chacham. It's going to learn. That's the issue that we have. And that's the part we have to understand. That's what we want from our kids. Only one thing, that they should come out and sit and learn. And they should become big people in learning, meaning they should be somewhat different people. They should be people. That's important. What do I mean by that? Let's say it says, Kachi Daka Shel Torah. This is one of the Braises in the sixth paragraph of Pirkei Avos, right? This is the way the Torah, Pas Malach Tirte, Teichel, Maim Bamsura Tishte, you should eat only a little piece of bread, drink a little bit of water, roll its tishon, sleep on the floor, right? And work in Torah. I mean, that doesn't sound too appealing for anybody to do that. So why would anyone do that? So it says, so Rashi says, even in such a case, you're mechuyev to go and learn. Now, right now, Baruch Hashem, most of us can afford to sit and learn to a certain extent. But even if we can't afford it, it basically means we have to spend money for it, or to come out, we're going to have to teach stuck here, or whatever it is. It's still a good thing to do. I want to change it a little bit. Not the facts is true what it says, but I want to translate it a different way. Now, I've seen it as what they call it, having a yeshiva of dormitory kids starting with around high school age. Talking with a kid of 14 years old, coming to the yeshiva, comes to the yeshiva, and we put him in a room. He's not going to have the same food that he had at home. He's not going to have the same bed he had at home. You're going to have roommates that he didn't necessarily ask for. And he's going to know that the Mashiach is going to be on his back all the time. That's what comes out to him, right? And a lot of the kids, for the first month, when the parent asks them, probably he asks them every single day, how's it going? And they'll say, I hate it here, right? But somewhere along the line, about a month into this man, you'll find the kids start saying, I love it here. How'd you go from I hate it to I love it in one day? The idea is, I hate it because all these conveniences that I had, or I thought I needed, existed. Right? Now I see they don't exist. So what happens? I don't have these enjoyments anymore. So I don't feel I'm doing anything anymore. So therefore, I feel bad. But all of a sudden, I start learning, and I enjoy the learning, and I find out that it's not really a sacrifice. I didn't give up anything. I enjoy it. I don't mind the fact that the food is not as good as home. I'm hungry, and I eat it. And the same thing goes when I'm going to have to go to sleep. I don't mind the fact that it's a bed that has whatever it is there. I mean, I slept in a bed that the spring came out of the thing. It was broken spring, and if you turned a certain way, you got it into your back. And stuff like on your side, and it'll cut you. Right? Okay, how many times I went to sleep there? But it didn't stop me from going to sleep. I was so tired at night, I went to sleep. I ate, no matter what food there was there, because I'm hungry. And I enjoyed it as much as anybody else enjoys a good steak or something, because I don't know if they're as hungry as I was. But I'm hungry. When I'm hungry, I'm going to eat hard bread. Yesterday's bread, 2 days old bread. And enjoy it. Not just doesn't enjoy it. So therefore, when the kid realizes there's no sacrifice, that's the way of Torah. Now, the same thing goes for the Baal Bus, who, let's say, he's doing other stuff, Yemi. Now, let's say it was a particularly hard brat. So he goes to the morning minyan. So he goes 5 o'clock to learn Daf Yomi. To do that, he has to get up at least 4, right? And he has to go to work right after that. So he's got this thing. So he learns that night, and as I say, it was a hard blot. So he wants to get another viewpoint at night. So he goes to the 7 o'clock Daf Yomi. And that one will end, let's say 8 o'clock. Then he hangs around talking a few minutes. He gets home. It's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. He's first going to sleep. He's got to be up at 4 o'clock the next morning. And he does it. But he's tired. And his friend asks him, so why don't you quit? I mean, what's the big deal? Why are you doing this? He says, what are you talking about? This is my life. This is what I live for. All of a sudden, Daf Yomi became his life. It's not a sacrifice. That's what you do to live. I think, okay, I'd like to sleep a little bit more, but if I can't, I can't. And that's the way it goes in life. So he realizes it's not a sacrifice, it's something he loves. And once you love something, there's no sacrifice. The second thing that I think that gives you the chshivus of Torah, the Torah niknem and mem chesed 48 things it takes to become a Talmud Chacham. And Gemara says, Gedayla Talmud Torah, than a Malchus, which only has 30 things, and Kahuna, which only has 24 things, because this takes 48 things. Okay. I never understood the comparison, because those two, being a Kohen and a Melech, by the fact that you're a Kohen, you have the 24 things. And the fact that you're a Melech, you have the 30 things. Right? But the 48 things you need to make you into the Talmud Chacham. So if that's the case, so how you compare the two cases? 2 different things. I said, no, it's not that. We find like a Kohen that didn't have the 24 things, who are the Bnei Barzilai. When the second Beis HaMikdash came out, they lost their papers of Yuchsin. They used to have how do you prove you're a Kohen? I mean, you want to say you're a Kohen. How do you know you're a Kohen? So you had papers that proved you were a Kohen, right? They lost this. And because they lost it, they couldn't prove they were Kohen anymore. But everybody knew they got certain things, things that they got, the Rabbanan that they lost. So everyone knew that. So that they told them you can keep doing that because that you have a chazak on. But to go higher, you can't go higher than that. So there was a name of what do you call it? Meyazilai. But they are Kohanim, missing part of the 24 things because they can't go up. They're not Kohanim anymore. They don't call them Kohanim anymore. They're Bnei Barzilai. They're Bnei Barzilai. They have a special law that they can get away with certain things. But in reality, they're not Kohanim anymore. The same thing goes with David HaMelech. When Avshalom made the revolution, David HaMelech didn't have the 30 powers anymore that a king has. So he wasn't king. He wasn't considered king anymore. For that half year or a year, whatever it was, he was out of office. He was not a king anymore. Why? Because he didn't have the 30 things. He would have the 30 things, he'd be a king. And that's the problem that they had. So what he's telling you this way, Gadol Talmud Chacham takes 48 things to be a Talmud Chacham, not to become a Talmud Chacham. It takes 48 things to be a Talmud Chacham. And if you don't have the 48 things, you're not a Talmud Chacham. The same thing if you don't have the 424 things, you're not a Kohen. If you don't have the 30 things, you're not a Melech. And that's what the Torah is trying to impose on us. This is something that we have to know, becoming a Talmud Chacham, and things that we work for and so on. It's not a small thing that we're learning on. We're working on. This is someone we have. It's not necessarily someone have for right. So basically, again, that's part of Purim in the way. In other words, whatever we pick to do, whatever the Torah tells us we have to do, which is to become the Talmud Chacham, become an Eved Hashem, and so on, that means we do 48 things. And by doing it, we get to love it. And when we love it, there's no nisoyin at all. And if we work on this, on the testing of betochen, I'm telling you guys, try it. Try it next time you got to go. The worst that you'll find a pot 6 blocks away. This is the worst that you'll have to walk. Try and see if you can get a better spot than 3 blocks away. Okay? And you'll see that I'm not going to tell you every time it's going to happen, because you may have unshim. You may have, like, God wants you to walk in 6 blocks and stuff like that. But it's going to see, you'll find that many times you will get the spot and you'll get it close. And that way you won't, you're going to see a different God. You're going to talk to God all the time. I'll tell you a story. Once I told this over to a group of guys. Believe it or not, there are shulim that have people that can't say they're lo yutzach, because the money seems they have, but pride, stuff like that. The world tenses of the word stoltz. People might translate it bachas in yeshiva as baligaiva. I'm now an older bacha, whatever it is, and I have stoltz. I don't talk to younger bachim anymore. I have reached the thing, but that's not what stoltz means. Stoltz means pride. In other words, it's not that I'm about God. I'm not better than this kid, and there's no reason for me not to talk to him. But not necessarily my friend, because we're not in the same age group and stuff, but if we were, we were. And it's not a problem to being friends with a younger bachim. The problem is that pshat is you know that you are an alter bacha, and it's your job to show how people have to act and have what equal, how to dress, all the things that Talmid Chacham mechuyev to do. That's because you have pride. You're going to wear that. I'm a Talmid Chacham. I can't just walk out like this. I got to walk out with a suit, with a tech. I have to look like a mensch. I have to look at a thing there. I'm going to daven. I have to put on whether the hat or not the hat, whether I forgot it or not. I'm not talking about. But my says, should I wear a hat? Shouldn't I wear a hat? If the people, if that's the coveted way to go to a melech or to someone else, why shouldn't you do it? If it's not, we're out of the business. Nobody wears hats anymore. Okay, so you don't have to wear minadin. We want to say that maybe there's a mile where you get that. You have to find out if there'll be a mile on it. But basically, I'm not tied down to any rules, whatever it is that I'm doing to give people chizuk, that this is important, this is not important, and so on. So I'm not knocking the hat, but the idea is, the hat is a pride. I'm a Talmid Chacham, and Talmid Chacham dresses a certain way. He doesn't walk in with his dungarees on the thing. They just off the job. What happens if I'm a working man, and I'm wearing that, and this man comes from Mincha, and we better daven now, or we're not going to daven Mincha? Of course daven Mincha with the dungarees. I'm not telling you not to daven Mincha with dungarees. You'll say all these laws you heard about, you shouldn't give, you shouldn't use, you can't daven with a hat, and don't daven with the minion, whatever, something like that. So that's not a rule for davening, that's a rule for the yeshiva. In other words, the yeshiva doesn't want guys who are not dressed properly for what they call properly to be davening by them. It's their minion. They can do whatever they want. They can make any rules they want. But it's not that they're saying that, this is the halacha, that you can't daven unless you're wearing a hat. That's not saying that, but we prefer our Talmid, especially in the yeshiva, davening yeshiva minyan, they should be dressed in a certain way. So that's what it means. So therefore, same thing goes on, and all these type of takonis, or whatever they make in yeshiva. It's is there any law you'll take pictures from out the yeshiva bachim, in Europe, that the comments of the things they would wear a white hat. They wear saying things that you wouldn't dream of wearing anymore. You gotta wear black. Right? That has nothing to do with being from a yid, wearing black or white. We all were, when I was a kid, in a yeshiva. I don't mean a kid, I mean Taki, the younger man even. We wore gray suits, we wore gray hats for sure. light blue hat. These things were considered no one had the concept of clothes. And there was one picture I once saw of the Brisker Rav with his kids. Rav David was wearing a white double-breasted suit and looking with the same the face and thing, you can tell it's him. And what he called, but that was the clothes. Big deal. I got a hat, so I got a nice suit. Who wore black suit clothes? A mother wore black clothes. The regular guy doesn't even wear black clothes. The regular guy wears colorful clothes, nice clothes. I think that you don't like it, so that's your problem. And I happen to like the color, so big deal. So therefore I wear it that way, you know. But it has nothing to do that are disrespectful or anything. That's not Torah. But being dressed nicely, in other words, not vil, not I don't want to say your shirt out of your pants. I mean, a kid can't keep it in the pants. What can you do? But I'm just saying, what the Maisa kids can understand, you're going to daven l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you tuck your pants, your shirt in. You're going to see the Melech, you tuck your shirt in. You're going to get to even see the principal, you tuck your shirt in. And that's basically what it's trying to tell you. Not no one is telling you to go and miss davening if you had to miss davening. Anyway, so sein Afreich und Purim, you should always be zeichet to Gula Shlema, and no more tzad to Klal Yisrael. They understand what happened today. I have known the facts myself, so I can't say anything. But Zain and Chomer for Kanskla. We're going to have to notify them that LA will not be the week. And after by Nachi, we can do it in White Shirt, they want to do it.
Okay. Zadie's not doing Shiur from LA.
I don't know. I don't see the timing, but that's the main thing.
Well, Zadie gave it over there at 11. Over here it would be 1 o'clock.
That's what I'm saying. But if I gave it over there,
that might work
for
better
11 for here, I have to give it.
No, but Zadie can give it at 11 over there. I'll tell everybody it's 1.